right, are you up for something exciting? Yes? All right, I'll show you a whole new dimension of art. Let's create and experience together connections. And I'll let you be part of an experiment. And connections where we can learn from and at the end, hopefully, can benefit from. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready? Come on. Yes. All right. Well, as a theater maker, I'm used to work with people and to be connected. And what we as artists lack in money, we make up in an overload of people and creative ideas. And we only have to connect them to make them work. And I personally experienced the power of being connected. And the magic formula of the value of the whole is greater than the sum of the separate parts is true. And I want to take that magic formula, take it from the stage of the theater, and put it right in the outside world, right in the heart of our society. Well, let me tell you what the future will look like. In the future, all of our world problems are not solely saved by politicians, but also by artists and their art. And there will become a time in the foreseeable future where art is not only about creating and expressing the individual emotions of the individual artist, but also about exploring new grounds, taking away boundaries and creating new, innovative, and maybe even world-saving solutions. At KunstLAB, the organization I founded together with my dear colleague, where is she? There, Stefanie Hesseling, we call this concept the ninth art. And we believe that this will both save the world of art as it will save the world as a whole. And I'll tell you why. Because the world of art has slowly but steadily been building up an image problem. It has disconnected itself from society. It has disconnected itself from society by concentrating only on expressing the individual emotions of the individual artists. And while from time to time we get our funding from some caring government or some good-loving mecenas, art finds it really hard to put down its true value to society. And so when an economic crisis occurs and society has to cut back in spending, art will be the post that will be struck the first and the hardest, because art is not seen as a necessity, but as something we can spend our money on if we have some leftovers. So it's not, if we have some leftovers, then we can spend our money. And so if society has to make some real financial decisions, it will rather invest in the fridge than in art, especially now when things are heating up due to the global climate change. And that's where we get to the problems the world as a whole is facing today. Because the world we are living in is faced with a lot of problems. Society on every scale deals with problems that need new solutions. But we can't cope with simple linear solutions that will fit one-on-one. We are in a constant need of new views, new techniques, and new possibilities. And the people who are running our business, our society, who mostly think linear and who are qualifying the given solutions only by its direct financial value, are not capable of giving us the right views, the right techniques, or the right possibilities any longer. So look what an enormous possibility lies before us. Just by connecting art to the real society around us, we might be able to tackle all of the problems we are facing today. Because art, more than any other financial-driven system, is capable in thinking and working in a diversive way. And by diversive, I mean in the way of looking beyond the existing options. By diversive, I mean the way that art is capable of showing you a path that you could not or did not see before. Art is capable of joining all parties and join them into a much stronger workforce. Art is capable, but we need artists to step into this zone. We need artists who have the will to fulfill this role for society. And I'm not saying that there aren't already a lot of creative people trying to put up a lot of hard work creating a better world. But there are still a lot of artists out there trying to keep up the old rule of seeing art as the most individual expression of the most individual person, placing on that way art apart from the things that really matter. And I would say it would be a shame if we as artists keep playing that role on the sideline. I think that we as artists should connect our work and our way of thinking to the problems society is facing today. That is where we can be of value. And that is where we can earn our place. But that also means that we as artists should not accept simple funding from governments or mecenases or other institutes. Giving us money and let us do our thing will not be enough. We have to demand that our funders connect objectives to our funding. Objectives that we as professional artists have to deal with. So in that way, we as artists have to force our funders and society to think about the role that art has to play in their plans. And so in that way, we as artists have to force our funders and society to admit that they are dealing with a valuable part of society and not with something they can easily throw away whenever they want. Well, my dear beloved artistic colleagues, all this is possible with keeping your artistic freedom. And yes, my beloved society, art will most probably not come up with direct solutions, linear solutions that will fit one-to-one. And maybe this is because there are no simple, direct answers for all the problems we are facing today. But what art can do is show you new possibilities. What art can do is introduce a new way of thinking. A way of thinking which is based on creation rather than profit. A way of thinking which is based on connection rather than an excluding business model. And that is exactly what we need to tackle all of the problems we are as a society are facing today. So let's take it back to the ninth art. And I'll tell you a little bit of history. In the Dark Ages, the 7 traditional liberal art forms were formed, and they could be studied at universities. And the goal in these art forms was not achieving economic benefit, but the development of the skills about these crafts, and in that way also the development of the art form itself. And in 2013, I met Todd Machover, an American scholar from the American Institute of MIT, and he introduced to me the 8th art. And the 8th art is a combination of the traditional art forms. The 8th art exists in the spaces between the traditional forms and gives, in that way, definition to the developments we see around us today. And here, on this stage, I would like to add one more art form, the 9th art. The 9th art is a concept which describes the way we work at KunstLAB and how we look at art and society. Interdisciplinary, but firmly connected to society. And liberal, because we don't achieve direct financial goals, but we try to achieve goals which are related to the problems we see around us today. Now it has a name, the 9th art, and you will probably ask me, what does it look like? Well, that's really hard to tell. Because the 9th art is all about testing our utopian ideas and trying to come up with new possible solutions and to clarify the problems we are facing. So the 9th art has a lot of ways of expressing itself, but I can make this experiment a little bit more clear. We at KunstLAB, we want to make the neighborhood that we are working in a better place to work and live. And we do this together with the municipality and electricity companies, water companies, and waste collecting companies. But most of all, we do this with the people that live there. So when we asked our neighbors how they thought our neighborhood could be improved, they pointed at a small alley, which is located in our neighborhood and is, especially by night, a little bit of a frightening place to walk through. And we began to think, how can we use art to create a sense of togetherness and to take away the frightening feeling? How can we use art to give the people the power to create their own feeling of safety? For example, by creating music. Well, that's what the 9th art can look like. And we're still in the process of developing this concept, but I can give you a little bit of an example how it works. Or maybe I'll show you. Or maybe you can show yourself. Because remember that I said that I would make you be part of an experiment. And remember that I said that it would make you feel connected. Then you most probably also remember that you stepped on those panels by entering this hall. Those panels are representing notes played on a variety of musical instruments stored on a computer. And just by stepping on one of those panels, you trigger the computer to write a note down into a musical composing score. So without knowing it, you were all together creating a new and unique user-generated musical composition. You were all together writing music here in this hall. So that is what the ninth art can look like. So when we are here together discussing how our society works and how every member and citizen should participate in it in order to make and create a better world, we can debate about it for days or here hours. But we can also ask art to show us what a participatory society will sound like. And if we want to make our city a much safer place to live, we can pay a lot of money to put a lot of police on the streets. But we can also use art to give the people the power to create their own sense of safety by making music. So for a start, let's hear what you, as an audience, a small society in one way, you can see it like that, have in store when it comes down to musical composing skills. Let's hear what you can create together right now. And remember, if you don't like it, your steps created a rhythmical pattern and a melody of the music you will hear. So it's just like our society. We're all in this together. We're all connected. So we ourselves are responsible for what we create. Thank you very much.